The U.S. Federal Reserve cut its benchmark lending rate once more, this time by 25 basis points amid easing inflation. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is preparing for the transition of power following his decisive election victory. He has named his female campaign manager as the new White House Chief of Staff. Russian President Vladimir Putin has suggested the possibility of his country holding joint military exercises with North Korea amid the latter's deployment in Russia to help the fight against Ukraine. It's November 8th, 8 p.m. in Seoul. This is Newscenter. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. The U.S. Federal Reserve has further lowered its lending rate, this time by 25 basis points. Now, this brings its rate gap with that of South Korea down to 1.5 percentage points. Our Moon Hae-ryun explains its implications.
The Federal Reserve has cut rates once again as inflation and labor market conditions in the United States show signs of easing. On Thursday local time, following the Federal Open Market Committee meeting, Fed policymakers slashed its benchmark interest rate by 25 basis points, bringing it down to the 4.5 to 4.75% range.
We continue to be confident that with an appropriate recalibration of our policy stance, strength in the economy and the labor market can be maintained, with inflation moving sustainably down to 2%.
September's Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, a key measure of inflation, showed that the rise of year-on-year inflation fell to 2.1%, while Fed Chair Jerome Powell commented that job market conditions remain solid. This latest decision from the U.S. Central Bank follows a big rate cut of 0.5 percentage point in September, which was the first significant rate cut since 2020. With the Fed's press conference coming just 2 days after the presidential elections, Powell stated that the results would not factor in their monetary policy decisions in the near future. He also answered questions about the possibility of stepping down if Trump, a known critic of Powell, requested his resignation with a no, and emphasized that he believes the president does not have the legal authority to remove Fed governors from their positions. This latest decision brings the interest rate gap between South Korea and the U.S. back down to 1.5 percentage points once again. The gap had widened to 1.75 percentage points after the Fed's big rate cut in September and the Bank of Korea's smaller rate cut of 25 basis points last month. As the Fed expects to cut rates further, although it's not clear how quickly cuts will come, eyes are on how the BOK will respond. Experts predict that the economic situation here at home will have a greater impact than the Fed's interest rate cut.
What may be a bigger effect on BOK's decision is lower than expected growth rates that we had for the third quarter, which was only 0.1% rather than 0.5% that the BOK had estimated beforehand.
The BOK is scheduled to hold its final monetary policy meeting of the year at the end of November. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
The U.S. presidential transition process is underway, and Trump has named his campaign manager, Susie Wiles, as the new White House Chief of Staff. Kim Bo-young has this report.
With a second Trump administration to come, eyes are on who will be in and who will be out of Trump's new cabinet. The president-elect, along with his transition team, are reportedly working quickly to assess each department's status and are vetting potential candidates who could serve Trump when he returns to the White House. In the very first announcement, the president-elect on Thursday named his campaign co-manager, Susie Wiles, as his White House Chief of Staff. Calling her the Ice Maiden, Trump mentioned Wiles during victory speech, thanking her for managing his election campaign.
Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden, we call her the Ice Maiden.
Described by Trump as tough, smart, innovative, and respected, Wiles, a veteran of Florida politics, played an integral part in Trump's successful 2016 and 2020 campaigns. Based on such trust, she is the first woman in U.S. history to serve in the role of gatekeeper to the president, serving as an advisor and managing day-to-day affairs. The names of some key figures are reportedly being considered for positions in Trump's cabinet, and among them are former independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is expected to play a major role related to public health agencies, and Mike Pompeo, tipped as a top contender for the role of defense secretary. The head of Tesla and SpaceX, Elon Musk, also, who has emerged as one of the most visible backers of Trump.
President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America.
Before Trump confirmed victory, the tech billionaire pledged to overhaul the federal government as a secretary of cost-cutting, with Trump reportedly having concentrated on the idea of Musk leading a new Department of Government Efficiency. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated U.S. President-elect Trump, saying Russia is ready to cooperate with him. European leaders, in the meantime, are calling for more independence in defense. Cha Yun-kyung has more.
A day after the U.S. presidential election, Russian President Putin officially congratulated U.S. President-elect Trump. According to some watchers, this shows that Putin is willing to hold talks with Trump, unlike the current situation of poor relations with the Biden administration.
I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate him on his election as President of the United States. I have already said that we will work with any head of state that the American people have given the mandate to. This will indeed be the case in practice.
Putin's move seems to be a reply to Trump's professed plan to end the Ukraine war quickly during the campaign period. Putin even mentioned that he's ready to hold discussions with Trump.
If any of them want to resume contacts, I have always said, and I want to say it again, we have nothing against it, as you wish. Let us resume contacts and hold discussions.
On the other hand, European leaders gathered for the European Political Community Summit in Budapest, Hungary on Thursday local time and called for more spending on defense to reinforce European security and competitiveness. As Trump is on his way to a second term, the leaders emphasize that Europe should reduce its dependence on the U.S. and do more to protect itself, since the uncertainties of a Trump administration will force countries to step up defense efforts and also possibly cause trade conflicts.
We also want to be more master of our destiny. We want to be more influential. We want to strengthen our economic base. And we want to act in a way where we are a respectful and respected partner.
EU leaders will hold unofficial summits one after another to discuss specific plans to reinforce EU competitiveness and relations with the U.S. Cha Yun-kyung, Arirang News.
Korean-American House Representative Young Kim has won a third term. The Associated Press declared California Republican Kim the winner on Thursday local time. With 74% of votes counted in California's 40th congressional district, Kim secured 56.4% of the vote against Democrat Joseph Kerr. First elected in 2020 in a state that is predominantly a Democratic stronghold and re-elected after 2 years, Kim serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee and has been chairwoman of the Indo-Pacific Subcommittee since February last year. Russia has raised the possibility of military exercises with North Korea, whose troops are suffering casualties in the Kursk region, according to Ukraine. Lee Seung-jae has the latest.
According to TASS news agency on Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin raised the possibility of Moscow and Pyongyang holding joint military exercises. During his remarks, he cited the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty he signed with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in June. The treaty includes a mutual defense clause for military assistance in the event of aggression by another state. Putin added that the treaty is nothing new, comparing it to a previous Soviet-era treaty that has since expired. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky announced on Thursday that some of the 10,000 North Korean troops deployed to the Kursk region were involved in combat, resulting in casualties. However, Zelensky did not mention the scale of North Korean casualties. He added that if no corresponding measures are taken in regard to the North Korean troop deployment, more will be sent to Russia to assist them in the ongoing war. When asked about U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's plan to end the war soon, The Ukrainian president said he did not know such details and had not discussed the situation with Trump. Zelensky also raised skepticism that Trump could end the war quickly, while stressing that entering into ceasefire negotiations without security guarantees could be very dangerous. Meanwhile, U.S. Department of Defense Deputy Spokesperson Sabrina Singh says the Pentagon cannot confirm whether North Korean troops have engaged in battle with Ukrainian soldiers yet. However, she noted that given the fact that the troops are in Kursk, the possibility of them being engaged in battle is high. Singh says the Pentagon's assessment is that there are 10,000 to 11,000 North Korean troops in Kursk, but added that Pyongyang has not yet deployed additional troops. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
The South Korean military conducted a live fire drill on Thursday in a show of strength amid a series of ballistic missile launches by North Korea in recent days. According to Joint Chiefs of Staff, on this Friday, an Army unit launched a Hyunmoo-II ballistic missile from a launch site in Chungcheongnam-do province. The missile flew some 200 kilometers, striking a designated sea target to the south. Officials assert the drill displays South Korea's determination to defend itself from any North Korean threat. Consumers here are expected to embrace one of Korea's main shopping seasons as temperatures drop. The country's version of Black Friday has kicked off, bringing numerous bargains. Our Lee Soo-jin visited one of the nation's busiest shopping districts.
Shoppers in South Korea are anticipated to save big at the largest shopping event of the year. The Korea Sale Festa, often compared to Black Friday in the U.S., kicked off on Friday with a record 2,600 businesses participating in the event. And consumers are more than ready to shop at more affordable prices.
It's colder because it's the end of the year, but prices are high, so I want to buy clothes at cheaper price through the Korea Sale Festa.
Now in its 9th year, the government hopes that this nationwide event will revitalize sluggish domestic demand. Retail sales, which indicate trends in goods consumption, declined by 0.4% month-on-month in September after seeing a rise in August and fell 2.2% year-on-year.
The economy as a whole is not doing well because domestic demand is weak. So events like the Korea Sale Festa benefit not only consumers, but also businesses.
Both online and offline retailers are offering large discounts in hopes of boosting sales.
We believe that the 2024 Korea Sale Festa will increase sales from both domestic and foreign customers.
This year, major supermarkets are focusing on fruits and vegetables such as key kimchi ingredients. And the nation's top e-commerce platforms like Coupang and Gmarket are hosting their own sales, while online grocery service Market Kurly and food delivery app Baemin are participating for the first time this year. Another first are promotions by resorts and theme parks. There are also larger discounts on more car models, as Hyundai Motor is offering up to 5 million won, or around $3,600 across 24 models, including selected EVs. Home appliance deals are also bigger, with special deals from Samsung Electronics and LG Electronics for TVs and steam closets. As the event will be held until the 30th, shoppers will have plenty of time to find bargain prices for a wide variety of items, boosting sales and subsequently stimulating the nation's economy as a whole. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
With less than a week to go until the South Korean college entrance exam, safety measures are being implemented to ensure it goes ahead without disruption. The country's safety ministry held a meeting today to review safety plans, designated the exam day and the following 3 days as a special safety period. On exam day, authorities will focus on handling extreme weather such as heavy snow or what to do in case of a natural disaster, as well as managing crowd controls afterward. Known as the Suneung, the exam is a major national event. 4 video journalists who risked their lives in the Gaza war won the top prize at South Korea's Hinzpeter Awards, the World at a Crossroads Award. Mohammed Sawaf, Salah al-Haw, Ibrahim al-Atla, and Marwan al-Sawaf are Palestinian journalists who exposed the realities of the Israel-Gaza war, losing Marwan in the field. The fourth Hinzpeter Awards, held in Gwangju, honored video journalists for their remarkable dedication to truth, human rights, and justice. Named after German journalist Jürgen Hinzpeter, who reported on South Korea's May 18th democratization movement, these awards are South Korea's first international journalism honors. The Dongdaemun Design Plaza in downtown Seoul marks its 10th birthday this year, and in light of this occasion, a special tour is being offered to those interested. Park Go-nu had a first-hand experience.
Breathing in the autumn breeze from way above the ground. This is now possible as Dongdaemun Design Plaza, a landmark in central Seoul, has opened its rooftop to the public from late October to commemorate its 10th anniversary. Tourists can experience being on the very top of the DDP among its asymmetrical aluminum panels and succulent sedum plants. I'm now out on this thrilling tour walking on the roof of this 29-meter tall structure. It's a bit shaky and slippery, but tied to this strong rope with this helmet on, I can't feel any safer. The tour safety system is certified by DECRA, a global testing and inspection company. Local safety organizations also inspected the area for 9 months. Accompanied by safety personnel, only 10 people aged 18 to 70 and weighing under 100 kilograms can take the tour due to safety issues. One of the best parts is that you can take neat pictures with Seoul's famous tourist attractions behind you, including Namsan Tower and Dongdaemun Gate.
It was fantastic coming up here and seeing the panorama of Dongdaemun. It seems like this place put a lot of effort into safety, so it feels extremely safe.
As Dongdaemun is usually known for its shopping districts, I want to tell people that this place is also a great tourist spot. I think it can be a new trendy tourist spot for a lot of foreigners.
For now, it's a free pilot program running twice a day from Friday to Sunday until November 17th, but a paid tour is in the pipeline.
This type of rooftop tour is probably the first in Korea. We'll increase the number of tours next year by preparing more fun content along with safety measures.
Park Go-nu, Arirang News.
Time now for our weekly arts and culture segment, and that means our culture correspondent Song Yujin is here in the studio. Welcome, Yujin.
Happy Friday, Tongmi.
Happy Friday. What do you have for us today?
Well, Tongmi, we saw some very exciting news earlier this week on South Korea's cultural front, and that is Korea's traditional jang-making culture being nominated to be listed on UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage. So for this week, I looked into what jang-making culture is and what this recognition could mean for its future.
It's a bright weekday afternoon at a jang farm in Ansong City, Gyeonggi-do Province. Workers here are busy with what's called galmuri, removing impurities and evenly mixing soybean paste to ensure the perfect fermentation of jang. A staple in nearly every Korean dish, jang refers to soybean-based fermented foods like doenjang, ganjang, gochujang, and cheonggukjang. This farm is operated by one of South Korea's 12 government-certified jang masters.
It's important to use high-quality soybeans and natural, unfiltered water. Making jang is more than just soaking meju, the soybean bricks in brine. The pots are carefully sterilized, and we add red pepper, the fruit jujube, and heated charcoal to purify the mixture.
The traditional process of jang making involves boiling soybeans, mashing them to create meju, fermenting and drying them, and soaking them in brine. This age-old practice has been nominated as a UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity, a recognition given to traditions passed down through generations that reflect cultural diversity and promote sustainability. This nomination represents 5 years of efforts by the Korea Heritage Service, jang masters, and various experts.
We emphasized how jang making is passed down from mother to daughter, highlighting the important role women play in food preservation. It also supports sustainable growth in farming communities and is environmentally friendly, using no chemicals in the fermentation process.
If designated, supporters hope the status will spotlight jang's many benefits, both within Korea and internationally.
Doenjang can keep its beneficial bacteria alive for 10 to 20 years at room temperature, as does doenjang. Foods like this are unique to Korea, and I take pride in this tradition. I hope UNESCO's recognition will help educate Koreans on how jang purifies the blood and cleanses the intestines.
Jang is central to its unique flavors of Korean cuisine that continues to gain popularity worldwide. But since it's a daily staple, many Koreans tend to overlook its value. We hope this inscription will help raise appreciation and preserve this tradition.
So jang making is a tradition that has shaped Korean cuisine for over 1,000 years. UNESCO will decide whether to inscribe it as an intangible cultural heritage at its 19th session of the Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage next month in Paraguay.
Eugene, so the big decision is set for next month.
Right.
How likely is the jang making will be inscribed on the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage?
Well, I can say that it's very promising because UNESCO gives 1 out of 3 responses to each submission, which is inscribe, refer, and not to inscribe. And usually, if a submission receives an inscribe, it makes the list. So South Korea currently has 22 intangible cultural heritage practices on UNESCO's list, and they were all accepted on their first inscribe recommendation. So we're expecting a similar outcome with jang making as well. And the UNESCO committee that will make the decision will take place, the meeting will take place in Paraguay's Asunción from December 2nd to December 7th.
That is great to hear. And if jang making is added to the list, you know it'll surely draw more attention internationally. And you spoke with a government-designated jang master. So are there any tips on how we can enjoy jang even more?
Well, Master Seo did give some helpful advice, especially on how to get the most out of doenjang. So her advice is not cooking doenjang for a long time because the heat tends to reduce all the beneficial nutrients such as the necessary amino acids. And she recommends not cooking doenjang for so long once again. So for example, when you are making dishes like doenjang-jjigae soup, it's best to cook the vegetables and other ingredients first and then add the doenjang at the very end. And she also mentioned not adding garlic with doenjang because in traditional belief, they're considered incompatible with each other.
I will take her tips. All right, thank you, Eugene, for the reports and tips. And I bet you will keep us posted on UNESCO's decision next month.
I sure will. Thank you.
From today, the cold eased off a little, so the weather was good to go out. Most parts of the country stayed mild, slightly below 20 degrees Celsius. During the weekend, morning temperatures will rise further. For the time being, the daily temperature differences will be as large as around 15 degrees in inland areas. Please take care. This weekend will be a little cloudy, but with warm conditions during the daytime. It will be good to enjoy outdoor activities. However, it is expected to rain sporadically on Jeju Island on Sunday. Please take an umbrella when you go out. Tomorrow, Daejeon and Gyeongju will start off at 7 degrees, Busan 13 degrees. Highs will move up to 21 degrees in Gwangju and Busan, Chuncheon 17 degrees. It is expected that there will be no severe cold next Thursday, which is the National College Entrance Exam Day. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world. And that is Newscenter for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up.